Welcome to The Ladder, a weekly dose of personal development ideas to help spark your imagination, increase your leadership skills, and bring more success into your life. And now, here's your host, James Ferris.
Hello and welcome again to another episode of the Ladder Podcast. I'm your host, James Ferris, and we're going to get right into things today. My topic today is one of my absolute favorite ones to talk about, and I will probably talk about it another 30 or 40 times on this podcast and in any opportunity, any situation where I have an opportunity to talk about it. And what is that? It's about failing. Yes, failing is part of succeeding. And I'm reminded about this because we had a special roller skating party over the weekend. And this particular week are midterm exams for our students where they will earn their achievement stripes on their belt if they succeed in showing us the requirements that we're looking for. So, this is a very timely message, and I'm sure that it applies to each and everybody listening to this message. Please be sure to share this with friends and family. Get the word out, especially if somebody's in the middle of struggling somewhere in their lives. So anyway, we went to the roller skating rink, and I was kind of shocked at how many kids and adults didn't skate because they didn't know how to, or they said that they didn't like it. And my first thought anytime somebody tells me that they don't like something like roller skating. Now there are other things that it probably applies to, but somebody that says they don't like roller skating yet they'll come to a roller skating rink really tells me that it's probably the reason they don't like it is probably because they don't feel they're very good at it yet. And I can understand that. I mean, we're as human beings, we're wired to move towards things that we have skills and talents in and that we're not as nervous about. And I'm here to tell you that fear and fear of failing, those are some of the biggest robbers, thieves in our lives. And we've got to learn how to, arrest these hooligans inside our minds and keep them from keeping us from doing more with our lives. When you learn a new skill, you gain confidence in a way that you can't by just watching somebody else do it or reading about it or watching a movie about it. There's nothing like getting out there and doing something and gaining a skill personally. My opinion is that every time you, and myself included here, anytime we learn a new skill, we gain more confidence. And the more confidence that we gain in our lives allows us to try newer and bigger and bolder things, which allows us to develop even more skills, and that's part of the way to happiness. It makes us happier having the ability to fight our fears and doubts and go out and do something. So I'm going to give you 10 little famous or somewhat famous quotes or sayings about failure and as it relates to success. And I'm going to start with the first three being acronyms for the word fail. So the first one, F.A.I.L, means forever acquiring important lessons. And that means that any time that we're failing, we are learning. So that's how we're going to gain the information or the knowledge or whatever it is that we need so that we don't continually fail. Eventually, we succeed. As a martial arts competitor, I competed for 8 years without winning a single thing. Back then, when I was competing, there was no such thing as a participation medal or a participation trophy, although my very first one was basically that. So I can't say that for now that I think of it. So I believe the year was 1990, possibly 1991. I have this somewhere. It is a 5th place certificate for a competition that I did back in either 1990 or 1991. And I received this 5th place certificate, so I was finally better than somebody. And out of that entire division, I placed 5th. I didn't get 1st, 2nd, or 3rd, but I also didn't come in last. Now, how many people were in my division? I'll let you take a guess. There were 6. So I actually was better than one person. So nonetheless, that sparked my desire to say, I'm tired of not placing, and wow, I finally got this 5th place. And, most people would not want to show that off, but I occasionally would drag it out and show it off because it was the starting point of me saying, you know what, I'm tired of this kind of stuff. I'm tired of losing, and I'm tired of failing over one time after another and coming home with nothing after spending all this time training and all this money and time traveling to these competitions. And it was at that point that I decided to get serious and change some things about my training so that I wouldn't continually fail. And from that moment, that's when I started to really dig in and look for, what were those lessons, the important lessons that I needed to learn so that I could come back at least with a third place trophy or medal. And I did. I learned what those were. And I started to place consistently in the third place bracket. So I wasn't losing anymore. But when I got comfortable with that, and when I got uncomfortable and got tired of taking the third place, and I wanted to move up the ladder, and of course I didn't believe that I could jump right to the first place. So of course I said, oh, how do I get a second place? So I started to become more inquisitive about my training. What was it I needed to tweak and fix and maybe think differently about? And then I was able to get some second places along with those third places. And eventually I started to find out what it was that was keeping me from first place. And when I got to first place, I finally learned what kept me out of the big leagues with the Grand Champion awards. So I also learned what those things were, and then I went out onto the world stage and became an international competitor and did very well in those stages as well. But I started out by failing frequently. Failure became my best friend, and really still is my best friend. He and I are kind of, you can't see this, but we're like this, and this is me crossing my fingers. This is how tight we are. I have failed so many more times than I've won, but it's through those failures that I've learned the lessons that I've needed to learn to be able to grow and finally succeed somewhat. All right, so we never just get to the winner's circle and stay there. We're either winning or we're losing, and which is another way of saying we're learning something, right? So it's a continual cycle that goes on. Okay, so forever acquiring important lessons. The next one I really like even better. First attempt in learning. So when we first try something, if we happen to succeed at it the first time, oftentimes that's luck, and it's not really skill. So if we try that same thing again or a third time, we might discover that it was luck and we have a lot to learn still. But keep in mind, failing is first attempt in learning. Number 3, it can also be called first action in learning. It's taking the first step in trying to learn a new skill. Anything works like that. So roller skating, as I was telling you the story, some of the students absolutely loved the roller skating experience, and some of them didn't like it as much. And the people who probably didn't like it as much were the ones who fell during their attempt at learning to roller skate, and they didn't feel like they had their balance. They may have felt a little bit uncoordinated, and they were watching other people do it, and it didn't come to them very easily. But I'm here to tell you, I used to have that same problem. I don't know how I learned to roller skate. I don't even know when I learned to roller skate. All I know is that I learned to do it. And now if somebody wants to go roller skating, I can say, absolutely, let's go. I don't have to say, yes, I'll go with you, but I'm not going to be skating. And they may even offer, well, I'll help teach you. Well, no, I don't want to do that. And the real reason is because there's fear involved, fear of failing, fear of falling down and getting injured. And we take those very same risks with every step that we take. The injury is a possibility by just stepping down on our ankle wrong, without a curb, or without a pothole or anything else that might increase those odds. So we take risks every time we move our bodies, and we just have to learn to be smart about it and understand that falling is part of succeeding. We have to learn to get back up again. Okay, so anyway, first action in learning. Number 4 is, this is what it really comes down to. It's not what happens to us, but it's how we respond to what happens to us. So it's not the fact that we failed, it's our next action. Are we going to let that failure define us and keep us down, or are we going to rise to the occasion? The old saying that says, when the going gets tough, the tough get going. So that means that when things happen and we start failing and get a challenge, tough people, tough-minded individuals rise to that challenge, and they say, you know what, you may have beat me this time, but I'm coming back for more tomorrow. And you may beat me tomorrow, but I'm going to come back again, and I'm going to keep coming back until I wear you out. And I'm going to eventually best you. I'm eventually going to succeed at whatever this is. And when I say I'm eventually going to best you, I'm talking about, in my mind, I'm talking to that problem, to that skill, to that whatever it is I'm doing. So in the case of roller skating, I might have a conversation that says, you know what, Mr. Roller Skating Rink, you haven't gotten the best of me yet. You haven't even seen my best yet. I haven't even gotten started yet. You may have won today, but I'm going to come back, and I'll be darned if I'm going to let a stupid piece of wooden floor keep me from getting this skill learned. I will learn this skill. And that's the mindset you've got to have if you're going to be successful in anything. You've got to have these conversations with yourself, and occasionally you have these conversations in public with that object, right? I'm not averse to doing that myself in public, as long as the people around me know who I am, because they know that I have these conversations, and I talk about having these conversations just like I'm telling you right now. So if it's something like a computer and I'm trying to figure something out, I'll actually point to my computer like I'm doing right now and say, you will not win this one. I am going to figure you out. I am going to figure out what's going on here, and I will get you up and running again. Mark my words. I have conversations like that with inanimate objects all the time when I am trying to solve a problem. And I encourage you to adopt that same habit. Okay, now, number 5 is it's from a guy named Andrew Bustanobi. He says, I'd rather try and fail than to never try for fear of failure. Let that one sink in for a moment. I'd rather try and fail than never try for fear of failure. I'll tell you what, guys, I'm sure you're like this as well. I can really respect somebody who at least gives an effort. Somebody that's at least willing to try something versus the person who says, no, I'm just not going to try. Because what they're failing to add to that, no, I'm not going to try, is that because I might look stupid, I might fall, you might lose respect for me, you might laugh at me, or any other number of things that we can insert after the fact that keep us from actually doing things that would make us feel better. Self-esteem is something we have to go get. It doesn't just come to us. So that it includes falling down and being okay with falling down. You know, at the roller skating rink, guess what happened? I fell. I've been skating for 40 some years. I fell. And guess when I fell and where I fell? I fell because a couple of kids got in my path, and I had to make some quick decisions, and those decisions didn't turn out too well, and I ended up, like the Charlie Brown kicking the football thing, and lost my balance, and I could tell it was coming. I started to laugh on the way down. I used my martial arts break fall. I hit the floor with my arms so that my head didn't hit the floor, and I rebounded and popped right back up and laughed, and it happened all in front of all of our parents and students that were there, sitting in the corner in our little area that we had gathered in, and so it happened right in front of them. I don't know if anybody got any pictures or video of it, but hey, put it up there if you've got it. Anyway, what I said was, hey, it's okay to fail. It's okay to fall. We just get back up again. And this is a lesson for my students that I failed too. I fall down, but I get back up again. It's not going to keep me from going out and trying again. All right, so if at first you fail, try again until you succeed. That's the message in this, right? Number 7, failure is not falling down, but refusing to get up. Number 8, this comes from the martial arts. It's a Korean, and Japanese use it as well. It's a Korean saying. We call it in Korean chiljan palgi, which means fall down 7, get up 8. So that means every time you fall down, you have to get back up again. If you fall down 9 times, get up again. If you fall down 10, get up again. You fall down 100, get up again. Rise again. Okay? Number 9, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. When you realize when you fall down that it's not quite as bad as I thought it was going to be, then that gives you the courage to get out there and try again, knowing that your fear made the fall a lot worse than what it probably was. Now, there is always an exception, because there was another fall at the roller skating rink by one of the adults, and they weren't from our group, but I didn't see it 100%. I didn't see either of the falls, but I did see the fact that she was laying and had to be taken off by a paramedic because she couldn't move her legs. So I'm assuming she broke an ankle or something. But I don't know what happened and why it happened, but that was the only one of those that happened the entire time we were there. So is that a possibility? Sure, it's always a possibility. But again, so is stepping down a curb. We have the same opportunity there to step down the wrong way and twist and break our ankle doing that too. But it doesn't stop us from stepping off of a curb, hopefully. All right? And number 10 is success is failure turned inside out. So in order to succeed, we have to learn how to fail first and fail forward and fail a lot. fail fast. That's how all the inventions happen. That's where the old story of Benjamin Franklin, I think it was Benjamin Franklin, Thomas Edison. Thomas Edison, who invented the light bulb, they say the numbers vary. Some of them say it was he failed 999 times. Some of them say he failed 99 times. But it doesn't matter. The man failed over and over again, and what he said was, when somebody asked him, how do you keep going after you failed so often? And his response was, well, I haven't failed at inventing a light bulb. I just found 99 or 999 ways that it won't work, and I'm getting closer to figuring out how it will work. And thank goodness for us that he didn't give up, because we have light bulbs now from his ability to continue doing it, even though he might have failed. So my message for any of my students that came out and had anything less than a fantastic experience at roller skating is, hey, don't quit just because it didn't come to you the first time. Maybe this was your third time going and it still didn't come. But I'm telling you, you're getting closer and closer to learning how to do it. And even if you never enjoy roller skating, if you go through the process of learning how to skate and overcoming that fear and overcoming that doubt and overcoming the desire to just not want to try again because you couldn't figure it out right away, that skill that you are developing is your self-discipline and your confidence and willingness to step out and try new things and not be, stifled because you might not be good at it right away, or maybe you'll never be good at it. But after you try so many times, at least you're going to learn something from that. If nothing else, learn about yourself, that you've got the ability to stick to things and take on challenges. So either way, you're going to win. So anyway, that's my message for you this week. Hope you enjoyed it. If you've got any stories for me about failing and succeeding in the end, please let me know those in the comments below, and have yourself a fantastic week. This is James Theris saying, fail a lot, learn a lot, fail fast, and learn fast. Talk to you soon.